to know how to fix. Actually, you're supposed to have a signature in your plumbing system. People should know that, Mr. Christopher came here, no matter what. People say, but how did you know? Just the plumbing system tells me that Mr. Christopher was where? Was here. That's a signature because this person is now skilled. And not just skilled as a plumber, but skilled as to have a signature in plumbing. I don't know if you're getting my step. Ask yourself as you do the plumbing, do you have a signature in your plumbing? Well, if you go to the bank, can I use your signature to withdraw money? No, I can't. So that's how skilled people should be. However, when you come to competence, there now it amasses to something more like what the big man had said. You now involve other components. What are those components? Apart from acquire the skill, you need to graduate to become competent. There are people who are skilled, but they are very, please mind the words I'm going to say. There are people who are skilled, but they are very uncultured where work is concerned. Mzato kama tazi wanchito but behavior yoipa. Language yake ni kazani. And they replicate test na customers. But ni muntu watsinga musiya. Why? Because this person has the skill which is irreplaceable, but lacks competence. What is competence? Competence is simply the ability of skill with behavior and area of organization in someone's work. So in competence, we have for behavior, attitude, and skill. I don't know if you got what I said. So there are people who have a skill, but they have a very bad behavior. They do not know how to relate. They do not have a good attitude. Then they are not competent because every work requires some levels of interaction, like what the big man said. Apart from being skilled, you need to know how to communicate to a client. You need to know how to relate to a client in order to make sure that you achieve the intended goal. So that's what a competence and a skill is about. So today we just want to look at the competences in our field and see how best we'll be able to do. And we'll look at mainly the job profile and plumbing and pipe fitting, and that's our area. I think this is one program the president can attest that we've been through and through from the initial point to the approval stage when we did with the GIZ. And this has come as a competence-based program which we need to embrace with both hands. But if we don't understand what exactly it's about, then we are got a gap between the doer and the content. Okay, we can go to the next one. Let's define. These are objectives we're going to look at in a space of time. I'm very quick on this one, so for those of you who would like to take some key points, just take note of those points. This is the objective for this lesson. Our objective is mainly to define what job profile is and job competences in plumbing, and also explain the role of competences in plumbing and pipe fitting. We are narrowing it to our field so that we may see what exactly competent is in our field. We engage each other into some practices. No wonder you're seeing those papers there. We're going to highlight a bit of competences and link it to employment. How is it? And the training itself. So we can maybe flip to the next points. Just we're going to look at those. Now we start with what is a profile, a job profile. Each one of us has this field. You should ask yourself whether you're an employer, you're an employee, but you should understand what a job profile is. You need to know what your profile is about. This is simply a detailed summary. Now, look at these two interesting words. A detailed what? Summary. They are quite contradicting. Detailed. Meaning that it gives us precise information, but it's a structure that gives us the impression of how a person will operate. So it's a detailed summary of a specific job, outlining, these are the keywords, why they say detailed but summarized. It cares of the title. Who is the job order? Who are you when you are in the plumbing? When you know your title, you will know your responsibilities. fixing with raw materials. They don't even know the quality of material of the pipe. All they do is that it looks like they'll fix, not knowing that there is need of a qualified person and has experience and has working conditions. You don't just go into a place, even a kitchen. You don't just enter into a kitchen and start cooking. You need to know the conditions of the kitchen. How is the condition? Is it conducive for me to cook? Now, if you're a plumber and you're a well-informed plumber, you need to ensure that you understand what is your title, what is your responsibility. When you know the responsibility, we break it down here. There are roles and responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities, they break down to duties. I'm not forgetting my statements. So if you know responsibility, this is an umbrella view of what you do. But now duties are these chunks of operations. Chunks of operations. I deal in this, I deal in that. These are your duties. It's not enough. You need to know that beyond duties, there are what we call tasks. A task, that's where now we'll be engaged together and see how best to appreciate. A task is simply a sub-operation of a specific area in a broader way. That's a task. It has the end within a short time because you want to achieve that specific 40 minutes. If you want to achieve it with 30 minutes, you are fixing something. That's a task. But it is culminating into having an entire plumbing system, which is a responsibility. Are we getting the point? So, entirely, we need to have these words understood, not only for expression, but for action. We need to interpret them in action. So, as a plumber, you need to know that you should be qualified, and you should know your qualification, you should know your experience. The reason why some of us don't even have tenders that we fit, because we do not show our experience. We do not go to show our credentials that we are fit to have that tender. Instead, Zimbabwean people come to take over. And they do work that you can even do far much better. Why? You do know how to sell yourself. How do you sell yourself? A job profile should really give you what you're supposed to give. Experience, working conditions, and expectation. What is expected of this person? What exactly is this person expected to give? So, mainly a job profile is there to define our role. Clearly, what is my role? When you know that you are off the road, this guides you. It is not only for an employee, it's also for an employer. Plumbing is an industry. And there will be a time when you become an employer because you need to engage others to be on board of what you're doing. It could be running your personal enterprise, but it's in plumbing. You need to understand that. Because that will effectively help your recruiting and your training. Because you will know that is this guy qualified? What level? And what level do I put him? Which area of operation is this person going to be doing? So basically, this job profile gives us a layout showing job, title, tasks, skills, work environment. That's what the job profile is about. You can flip the page. Go to the next one. Yes. Now here's a sample. Actually, someone would have been asking, but how do you write a sample of this? This is just a glimpse. It's more detailed, but these are key words that you find in a job profile. Here's a sample of a job profile. First of all, you need to have a job order, title. Yes, where it is. Plumber and pipe fitter. This is the person. A plumber and pipe fitter, if that's the way you want to be called. You are a plumber and pipe what? Fitter. Because you fit pipes, you also do plumbing. That's your operation. What is your job purpose? This is where now some of the roles are shown. Your job purpose, mainly these are the roles, responsibilities, is to maintain, to install. These words are verbs and very key verbs, professional verbs in our field in plumbing. So, you need to install, you need to maintain, you need to repair what? Water, supply, and drainage systems. Why? As well as the piping. You cannot talk about a pipe without the issue of liquid or water until you appreciate those two. So, your job, you know the scope. This is the overall, brother. You're talking about to store, to maintain, to repair, water supply and drainage system, but as well as the pipe for heating and cooling systems in residential, in commercial, and industrial settings. This has summarized your entire operation. There is nothing excluded there, because those are major areas of your operation. We call them responsibilities. Now let's break this down. What exactly will you be doing as you install? What exactly will you be doing as you maintain? What exactly will you be doing as you repair? Duties come in, key areas of duties. One, you need to have the position to interpret the blueprint. Many of us don't even know how to interpret the specifications. You do not know how to interpret. No wonder you find that the positioning, it's quite embarrassing. Am I speaking to the class there? Yes. Positioning of a sink. Mwana atofutika itangati kapena ni post chingi na malaiti. Matofusa manje banaika kanandani. Nikachani kalipa mwamba. Atinipeka na unikira chefu ino pamene hapo. Why? Because we do not interpret and work from where? The blueprint. What is a blueprint? These are specific measurements, specific design, specific requirements for an installation, for maintenance, and for repair of any area of plumbing systems. This is why there is also technical drawing as we are doing. You mark the position where this thing is going to be. You don't just come start fitting, or else you see something that is going in diagonal. Something that's supposed to be vertical, it now looks what? Diagonal. And someone who is experienced will even know this fixture here is not okay. Instead, should have been straight. You are to measure, to cut, to install piping systems. You are to discover, repair. You should know where's the leaking coming from. What is the problem with the system? No, we're not experiencing enough flow of water. What could be the problem? You begin to assess, you detect. After that, you repair those leaks. Then you install fixtures like toilet sinks and bathtubs, conduct tests on plumbing system to ensure proper functioning. We can go to the next one. These are the major areas of our operation. Let's look at the other part. It's the required qualification. Those were just major duties. Now look at the qualifications. Possibly, you may have a craft certificate or a diploma in plumbing, or you may just have a hands-on practical experience through an apprenticeship or on-the-job training. Depending on the qualification, that area is there to give what exactly are you qualified for. This is in a nutshell what a job profile can be defined. Let's start the next point. I want us to have an engagement. I would like to have these things maybe being stuck and then see how this will go. I do not know how it would be helped, but I want us to appreciate this engagement, because if you look at the idea behind this, I want us to understand what tasks you may have daily, but I will help you to bring them up and see how best we'll play around so that we appreciate what I'm explaining here. I'm speaking this way basically to communicate that you have an exercise at the end of the day. So you are in the class, by the way. So don't think you'll be left out. Everyone will be involved. So So the idea behind this is that these are some of the answers that one would give if someone was to ask a question. What tasks do you think a plumber does daily? What do you do every day? You may not finish the whole duty, but you have finished a task. Are we getting the point, right? So what are some of those duties? Well, I will not stick them, but I think those will just be an exercise. One, we always read the specifications. Two, we always do the installing or maybe the repairing of pipes. Three, or maybe the other point, we fix leaks. The other one, replacing worn parts. These things we do them every now and then. Whenever we're in the field and we want to. We also inspect. plumbing systems. These are some of the major areas that you could have answered possibly. But if I were to leave it up to you, you will attest that there are many other tasks that I haven't listed there, but they're very helpful to our day-to-day plumbing. Technologies are very important because there is technology that is progressing in a plumbing system. If you are seated only with the first method of fixing that you were told at new components that the sensors, right? The sensors just need to appreciate the technology part. Then you become a valuable plumber. But if you have just remained mechanical in a way, you are just ever, no, I only know how to fix. But what about this sensor? How do you appreciate it as you fix? Then you are in trouble. There's solar and goes with the connection of power of water, and you are, as a plumber, you're supposed to do your part. And look at how advanced technology has come in terms of installation of solar systems. And water is part of it. Pipes are part of it. You as a plumber, you need to appreciate the technological advancement. Away from understanding the best operations, you need to, it is the combination.